Netflix just released season 1 of Emily in Paris starring Lily Collins and Lucas Bravo. And this is totally my kind of show. Emily in Paris is about Emily Cooper, a young marketing expert who gets the opportunity of a lifetime, literally every girl's dream. She lands a job in Paris working for a marketing firm, but things don't go as planned. She can't speak the language, her coworkers hate her, she's the typical American girl, and she gets involved in a love triangle. Oh, and it is complicated. Hey guys, I'm Denise Salcedo, and today I'm gonna be recapping and reviewing, sharing my thoughts on season 1 of Emily in Paris. So let's get started. BTW, this review will include spoilers, so please come back once you've already seen the series. Unless you like spoilers, then stay. Let's start off with all the things I loved about this series and what Netflix really got right. First off, I'll start by saying that if you like shows like Younger, Sex and the City, or even Gossip Girl, you will enjoy this show. But please do not expect Sex and the City. I know a lot of people are comparing Sex and the City and Emily in Paris, especially because they have the same show creator Darren Star. But to me, Sex and the City is still a more mature show. But Emily in Paris still gives us what we need and want in these types of romantic dramedies. We got hot romance, great fashion, and an overall entertaining series that I think we're all secretly living vicariously through Emily. When it comes to the romance, we see Emily Cooper date a few guys. She starts off with a boyfriend, but it quickly falls apart. So she meets Gabriel, the hot guy who lives one floor beneath her. He's a chef and he's hot. And I'm not joking, I developed the biggest crush on Lucas Bravo, who plays Gabriel. I swear, he is gorgeous. I thought they did a really great job in the casting of Lucas for this role, and I loved Gabriel in this. He was sexy, he was manly, he was just the right amount of friendly and respectful. So I think they did a really great job with really painting the picture perfect man for us. And of course, Emily falls for him, but unbeknownst to her, he has a girlfriend. Her name is Camille, and she is the coolest, nicest person to Emily. They actually become close friends, thus adding a major complication for Emily. And I love a hot romance. I will say this, the writers for Emily in Paris really got me to root and cheer and want to see Gabrielle and Emily together. So here's a spoiler. At the end of season 1, Emily and Gabrielle finally sleep together. After his relationship with Camille ends, he's supposed to be moving back home to Normandy to open up a restaurant, but ends up staying in Paris after Antoine invests in his restaurant. So he's staying in Paris. But will he go back to Camille, or will he continue to pursue Emily? Who the hell knows? I mean, after the last few seconds of season 1, I think they're kind of teasing that he might go back with Camille. But here are my season 2 predictions. I predict that Camille and Gabrielle will somehow end up together again. At some point, Camille will find out about Gabrielle and Emily, and we should not be trusting Antoine, because it is very clear he just wants to get in Emily's pants. And for those of you who are wondering who Antoine is, he is the creepy old dude who cheats on his wife, is having an affair with Emily's boss, and now wants to replace her with Emily. And yes, his wife approves of this. Scandalous affairs, I am all here for it. Now let's talk about my other favorite part of Emily in Paris, and that is the fashion. The entire time that I was watching Emily in Paris, I kept taking like mental screenshots in my head, making notes of what I need to buy for my own personal wardrobe to look as fabulous as Emily. And what I got from watching the show is I need some bright colored jackets, some bright colored boots, and some really great pink coats, because oh my god, the fashion for Emily in Paris was to die for. The wardrobe designer and consultant for Emily in Paris is the same woman who worked on the fashion for The Devil Wears Prada and Sex and the City. So I already knew going into this I was gonna love the fashion, and I did. I love the way they made Emily look so colorful, bold, and trendy. Not to mention the Audrey Hepburn vibes I got from her in this look. I seriously love the fashion, and not just Emily's, but the whole cast looked wonderful. Now let's talk about Americans versus the French. Now, I've only been to Paris one time, and it was only for 3 days, so I'm not gonna pretend to be an expert on French people or French culture, but I will say that I loved this aspect of the show. I loved how they had, Emily come in, and she's kind of this basic American girl, and she's very, perky and happy, and you don't realize how perky and happy American girls tend to be until you watch this show, and you see that it's sort of a stereotype, and at the same time, I really felt that I related to Emily in the sense that we have a similar personality. And I know that I cannot be the only one who was watching this show and maybe started thinking, dang, if I go to Paris, people are gonna hate me because I connect to Emily and they hated Emily on this show. But I loved this whole American personality versus this French personality that we got to see on Emily in Paris. But now let's talk about some of the changes or additions that I thought they should have made on this show. So the things that I didn't really love. We don't know anything about Emily and her prior life in Chicago. We don't know much about her family or anything. I would have liked a little more background information on who she is. I would have also liked more intimate scenes. I thought they rushed some of the intimate scenes, especially when she finally got with Gabrielle. I thought they shied away from it, and I would have liked for them not to. I think that's part of what viewers liked from shows like Sex and the City. The other thing that I thought they should have added was a little more suspicion from Camille. She kind of came across as too trusting and a little dumb for making Gabrielle and Emily get all close. It's kind of like she should have maybe suspected something or at least not added to them being closer. Like when they drove to her parents' house and she had Emily sit on top of Gabrielle when he could have easily driven and she could have sat with Emily. So she came across as a little clueless. Now, before we go, here are some of the characters I did like or want to see more of. I thought Sylvie was fantastic. She plays the role of mean French boss woman so perfectly, and the way she gets annoyed with Emily is really what sold the whole American versus French portion of this series. Antoine, the creepy perv, I think will play a bigger and more controversial role in season 2 of Emily in Paris. Mindy, Emily's BFF on the show, I am curious with what they will do with her in season 2. I think they should add more story to her role. So there you go, those are my quick thoughts and review of Emily in Paris season 1 on Netflix. I have to say that this is totally my type of show. These are the kind of shows that I really enjoy watching. So I'm the typical audience for Emily in Paris. But if you guys watch this series, let me know what you thought about season 1 of Emily in Paris, what some of your season 2 predictions might be, some of the things you like, some of the things you wish they would have added to the show. Go ahead and let me know in the comments section below. Plus, for more videos like this one, I do TV recaps, TV news, and a bunch of other random stuff on this channel. Make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to give this video a like before you go, since it really helps me out. Other than that, if you want to chat with me on Twitter or on Instagram about Emily in Paris or anything else, feel free to hit me up at _Denise Salcedo. Until next time, I will see you all later. Happy binging, everyone. Bye.